Heart to Heart Catholic Media Ministry, in association with Bellarmine Jesuit Retreat House, presents Eucharistic Encounters, Advent and Christmas Reflections on the Gift of the Eucharist.
Today's presenter is Eric Stiles. Since 2016, Eric has served as the rector of Carroll Hall at the University of Notre Dame. He holds degrees from the University of Cincinnati and Loyola University, Chicago, and has worked at St. Benedict the African Catholic Church, St. Mary's University of Minnesota, as well as the Theater School of DePaul University. Eric collaborates with the Music Art Ensemble, Afro House, and writes about theology, liturgy, and contemporary culture.
I'm not sure I can recall a single moment when my life changed, but there is no doubt that it happened. From the first time I visited St. Martin de Porres Church outside of Cincinnati as a college student, my imagination was triggered. What was this strange ritual, especially as it was placed in dialogue with Black religious culture? From those early days, I was motivated, maybe even compelled to try to understand. Why was I attracted to that which was ancient and new, foreign and familiar, profoundly specific, yet unexpectedly universal? These rituals began to shape my thoughts and feelings about everything. Their rhythms and cycles, their calls and responses, their lamentations and jubilations evoked wonder. Connections fired off. The self and the community, justice and truth, artistic expression, ritual play, and social identity, goodness, beauty, and truth. But the circle was not complete. I could participate, but not partake. I could contemplate, but not consummate. The truest host of that banquet may have been asking, Eric, what do I mean to you? How much do you want to share in this meal? So late one night, during the Easter Vigil, a priest poured a copious amount of strong-smelling oil atop my head. Chrism ran into my dreadlocks and reached my scalp, an aroma that stayed with me for weeks. I was marked for life. The Eucharist had already become my source and summit of all things, a window into perceiving the world differently, filled with promise. The risen Lord met me by the seashore, ready to break bread and eat fish, asking me, his friend, do you love me? Scholar William Lynch says this about the imagination. It is not a single or special faculty. It is all the resources of the human person, all his faculties, his whole story of her whole heritage, about all brought to bear on the concrete world outside of himself to form images of the world and thus to find it, cope with it, shape it, even make it. The task of the imagination is to imagine the real. Jesus the Lord entered into the human story, into the human imagination, smuggled in undercover in the darkness of a woman's womb, nursed by his mother's breast, to find himself among women and men who needed a sign of hope. Eucharist is a practice, and real presence is a way of encountering a friend, a master, a lover. Eucharist is hearing God's voice and saying yes in mind and body. Eucharist, as Jesuit Father Jim Pierce says, is eating God up and drinking God down together.
Let's take 1 minute to think about today's Eucharistic encounter. What in this reflection resonates with your own experience of the Eucharist? What do you want to say to the Lord today? And what might the Lord be saying to you?
Thanks for listening to today's Eucharistic Encounter with Eric Stiles. Tune in tomorrow for a reflection by Valimar Jensen. We encourage you to invite your family and friends to experience our Advent series by going to htoh.us/Advent. Our series continues through January 1 with a new Father Michael video each Sunday and an audio reflection each weekday by a new presenter.
From all of us here at Heart to Heart, we wish you a blessed Advent season, and may God bless your heart and the hearts of all your loved ones.